In this video, we will go over how to operate the small antechamber. When starting to work in the Glovebox, the first thing you'll want to check is the control panel. This is what the control panel screen looks like. Our point of focus is the H2O and the O2. We want both of these values to always be just like this, 0.1 ppm. Before working with the small antechamber, we must make sure the large antechamber is closed. To do this, we must press this blue button and make sure the first two buttons here are red. Now that the large antechamber is closed, we can use the small antechamber. The small antechamber has a manual switch, unlike the large antechamber, which has an electronic switch. Now we will go over how to cycle things into the Glovebox using the small antechamber. First thing is to fill the small antechamber with gas until it is full, and then close the switch. This is how the pressure gauge and your manual switch should look like when you are done with this step. Before opening the door, make sure the exhaust is positioned above the door. Then, while using one hand to hold the door in place, use your other hand to slowly unscrew the door open. Once you fully unscrew the knob, you'll carefully use both hands to turn the door until you see the flange. Then you can carefully pull the door straight out. Gently lay the door down on a flat surface. If you are cycling in something that's similar to a bag, you must open it to remove the trapped oxygen before putting it in the small antechamber. If you are cycling in centrifuge tubes or glass vials, you need to remove the cap before placing them in the small antechamber. If you have samples inside your container, you'll want to try to remove as much oxygen as possible using a shank line and a septa cap. To cycle in a box of gloves, you'll want to fluff up the gloves before putting them in the small antechamber. This will help remove the trapped oxygen in the glove. Once everything you want is inside the small antechamber, you'll take the door and line it up using the flanges/lips on the door. Once it's aligned, you'll push it flush and then turn it using both hands to lock it into place. Once you are sure both flanges/lips are in correctly, you can then turn the knob until it's snug but not tight. Now we'll go over how to cycle. You'll do 3 cycles. First, you will use a manual switch to evacuate the chamber. This step is pulling out all of the oxygen. Wait 2 minutes here. This is what it should look like while you are counting down the 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, you'll fill the chamber with gas using the manual switch. Then you'll evacuate it again and wait another 2 minutes. If you want to leave during this 2 minutes, you can put this ring on the door so others know you are in the middle of cycling. Then repeat until you have completed 3 cycles. Once you've completed 3 cycles, you'll want to fill the chamber with gas until it's full and then close the switch. This is how it should look like when you are done cycling. Remember to put the ring back if you used it. Now you can open the antechamber door inside the Glovebox to bring your stuff inside. You need to be extra careful when closing the door while inside the Glovebox. It's harder to see the flanges/lip, so you have to make sure to feel with your fingers that they are in place. Otherwise, if you force the door closed with a flange/lip out of place, you can break the door. It's common to make a mistake when cycling in your stuff, so make sure to check that the oxygen has not increased. If it has, make sure to do a quick purge. Now we will briefly go over how to cycle your stuff out of the Glovebox through the small antechamber. Check that the H2O and the O2 are okay. Make sure the large antechamber is closed. Complete 1 cycle to flush the chamber clean. Then leave the chamber filled with gas and the manual switch closed. It should look like this when you are done with this step. Now you can cycle your stuff out of the Glovebox through the small antechamber. When you are done using the glove box, you need to evacuate the small antechamber and then close the manual switch. If during this process you've increased the O2, you'll need to do a quick purge. There is a second door style on the small antechamber that can also be found. The door you'll work with depends on the glove box you'll use. We will briefly go over the differences. The latch style door can be opened by simply pulling the latch outward and then pulling the door down. It can be closed by pushing the door up and pushing the latch in until it connects. Sometimes the seal on the door gets stuck, so you'll need to shake the edges of the door back and forth until it gives way. If this happens often, you'll want to wipe the O-ring seal on the door to make sure it's clean. You can still use the ring on this style of door. You just put it on and remove it as such. That's it for this video.